Cool. I am here with David Wolford of Sigra Space, and last week we had a conversation that just kind of blew me away. You've been in Portland for a long time, but mainly doing all of your work, LA, Seattle, what have you, and you're launching a space company in Portland. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, I thought Elon and like you had to have 100 billion or more to do that. But what you mentioned to me is makes a lot of sense, but I never thought of it. Is that like in the next 2 to 5 years, with the advent of AI, and data centers just sucking up all this power, and it takes all this energy to cool it, and to all of this stuff. Like in the very near future, data centers are all going to be in space. And the way to get all this compute power into space is through satellites and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so as a city, if we have a really anemic, there's like one other space company here. Yeah. And Seattle makes like 80 to 90% of all the satellites and all that stuff. And so as a city, if we're not playing in space and making money off of it, then we are going to be left out in the cold in short order. So tell me what Sigra Space does. You've been doing this for 14 years, but more consulting, and now you're launching this new company. So tell me about it.
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all. Happy to be here. Excited to talk about this. Data infrastructure is all moving to space at this point. It's at a much faster rate than I think people are aware. We're running out of water and power on Earth. It's really a power consumption problem, and putting these satellites in space allows you to have infinite power essentially from the sun and really utilize that.
Because it's cold in space, so you don't need to cool it, and then you also get power from the sun.
You get, endless power from the sun 24 hours a day, and you do need to cool it, but you can radiate that into deep space using radiators, and that's fairly proven technology. And so I think that's happening in quick order. Every large data center company in the world is looking at this and putting billions of dollars into it today, and has been already for a while. So that is happening, and at the same time, and
it's happening. It's not like all the way to Mars. It's like happening near the moon, or where?
This is mostly in Earth orbits, in lower Earth orbits and medium Earth orbits. So 400 to 2,000 kilometers above the Earth. So relatively close. It's really joining a growing stack of space infrastructure that runs everything in our daily lives. All global commerce, all national security, all runs through a space layer right now. Most of the viewers watching this, probably that data is flowing through space at some point to get to their computer. And so it's critical infrastructure for everybody globally at this point, and it's only increasing at an exponential rate to where all this infrastructure is going into space. So Sigra Space Systems, we're not doing data centers ourselves, but we're putting a constellation of satellites into cislunar space, which is the area of space that's outside of Earth orbits, out towards the moon. And because that is now an emerging economy is growing on the moon and around the moon, that's driven by national interests and commercial interests, but there's essentially no infrastructure out there. And so the real problem that we're solving is communication relays for deep space. It's GPS, PNT for deep space, position, navigation, and timing. And then a core problem we're looking at is anything that's going out into these regions beyond Earth orbits is effectively a threat to critical assets in Earth orbits, whether accidentally or on purpose.
Like crap's all going to run into each other if you don't have some sort of system.
Yeah, a system of situational awareness to know where everything is. Because right now we have pretty great awareness of everything that's happening in Earth orbits. But as soon as you stretch beyond that, there's essentially no awareness. And so the assets and satellites that do exist out in these places, they get lost easily, and it takes days or weeks to find them again. And if something maneuvers, it takes a long time to find them. There are a lot of rocket bodies left from Apollo era, from Chinese missions to the moon, from US missions to the moon, that have come back and come through Earth orbits and threaten things in Earth orbits. And then there are natural bodies, asteroids and things like that, that we're completely unaware of in this region, that do come in and get very close to critical assets all the time. So it's a region right now with very little understanding of what's going on, especially not real time. And so that's a core problem we're solving. And so Yeah.
So, and you're looking to kind of build some infrastructure in terms of talent and all of that in Portland.
Yeah.
Because there's, like we talked about, there's one other company here.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely not a space hub. It's, space is becoming a very large industry globally. Nationally, it's growing very quickly, the commercial side of it. And, LA and Seattle are huge hubs on the West Coast. Texas has a lot going on as well. Denver has a big cohort, but Portland essentially has nothing at this point. But we do have amazing talent that can feed right into the space industry. And so space is growing very, very quickly. I don't think most people realize how quickly this industry is ballooning and becoming a part of all of our daily lives in a way we don't quite see yet, but very quickly I think people will start realizing, they're like, oh, more and more people I know are now working for space companies everywhere. And I believe Portland needs to make sure and take advantage of that. I think it's a very quickly growing industry, and it has amazing jobs for engineering, for like manufacturing, for like the infrastructure on the AI side of it, on the software side of it, hardware side. It has an incredible draw it can do from all sorts of other industries into the space industry, and Portland has that talent. It's not being utilized at all right now, and I think it's we definitely should be doing a better job in building companies here for it.
So is this a call to action for more, if you don't like living in LA or Denver or Seattle or DC to some degree or whatever, move to Portland and like get on board?
I think there will be some of that. I think there's certainly going to be people moving around more, and I hope coming to Portland for space. But a lot of what you need in a space company is not really space specific. It's great mechanical engineers, great electrical engineers, really good technicians, really good manufacturing capabilities. And so there's a lot of people already in the region that do those things really well, and some long-standing companies and heritage and all those areas.
And why are you so passionate about Portland? Like, why not? It would be so much easier to move to Seattle and do what you want to do.
Yeah, you might be right. That's definitely where the capital is in these other cities and where people are investing. But I'm a huge Portland fan. I've been here almost 10 years, and I certainly want to be here, and I want to raise my family here. And I think that I've been traveling outside of Portland for 9 years now, doing space work to LA or Seattle or across the country, because it doesn't exist here. And so I want to be a part of helping bring it and grow the industry in town. I think Portland has a lot to offer, lifestyle-wise, for everybody, and just community-wise, that I don't really believe exists in some of these other places in the same way. So I think there's a huge advantage to building things here.
Okay, we haven't talked about this, but where's the best place in the whole Pacific Northwest to look at a night sky?
Eastern Oregon is pretty great out there. The John Day Wilderness is great. I mean, Eastern Washington as well. You just got to get away from cities as far as you can. Yeah. And then there's not a lot of cloud cover on the eastern edge. So, yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
cool. Well, thanks for sharing all this knowledge with
Absolutely.
us. It's something, again, I had not thought about it at all. But then when we talked, I'm like, wow, this is just a couple years out.
Yeah,
so.
It's happening, and hope to do it here in Portland.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.